Hello everybody, welcome back to Cozy Steve. It is me, I am back. I know, sorry, I've been gone for a little bit, but we's back. I've been busy doing work. And I decided, recently since I've been slacking on making the video, I've decided to come up on doing a little bit more like the business side of like the channel that I've been talking about recently. A very simple one. We're gonna start at the very basics. We're just gonna go to interviews pretty much, because that's normally like the very first thing you're going to have to do to get into anywhere, to a job, maybe even a school. Interviews are everywhere. So I decided to compile this video, make a little kind of like a tip video, so I can give you my tips on how to pretty much nail an interview. And this is by no means, guaranteed to give you a job by any means. So, in a full disclaimer, this is my personal tips that I'm giving that I have learned over time and that have worked for me personally. So by all means, if none of this works, it's not my fault or due. I apologize. But you can hopefully take my words and my advice and twist them and use them into ways that can work for you. Number one, and the very first obvious one, which I feel like I shouldn't even need to mention, is dress the part. For the love of God, please dress the part. I don't understand what goes through somebody's mind when it's like, oh, there's an interview, let me wear some jeans or like some sweats and like a graphic tee. It's like, no, you're not supposed to do that. Interviews, you gotta go all out. You gotta go the slacks, the shirts, maybe a suit, depending on what you're doing. But it's like, if you're going to an interview not dressed the part, at that point you just don't deserve it. I'm sorry, but it's just like, it's common sense at this point. You need to dress the part for an interview. First impressions count. All that shit counts. Another one that I might throw in there is also be on time. If you're not gonna be on time in an interview, you don't deserve the job. That's it, period. Anyways, moving on. So for number two, and this is something that not a lot of people do, is research the place you're going to interview for. It's like, why would you go to an interview not knowing anything about the place you're interviewing at? They're going to ask you questions about the place and shit like that. And another thing, why would you apply somewhere randomly that you don't know about? Like, you need to at least have some kind of configuration of what the place you're working at is. First of all, mainly to see if you like it, or at least it provides some kind of interest toward you, so you're not just there fucking, I hate my job 24/7, even though that happens in any job. But point is, it pretty much provides a conversational value towards the interview. Because if you go into an interview not knowing anything about the place, the questions are pretty much going to be quick. So, to the interviewer's eyes, they know that you don't know much, you don't have any research done, you don't hold a lot of value to you for them to hire you. They don't see any great help coming out of you, so they're going to keep moving on with you. And number three is be charming, like sophisticated, kind of. I don't understand why people are so like mad looking all the time. It's kind of weird coming from me, because I'm someone who always looks like in a bad mood all the time. But it's like, when it comes to play the part of being charming, being happy, being out there, being social, I play the part, because it's like, when time comes, you have to do things like that. So when it comes time for an interview, you can't walk into the place, not say hi to the receptionist, or whoever is at the front desk, or whoever it may be, because you getting the job probably might be based on whoever's out there's opinion. Like, the work's opinion. The interviewer may come out and ask the people out there, it's like, oh, what'd you think of this guy? Blah, blah, blah. And they're like, oh, he just sat there all sluggish, looking at his phone, not doing anything. And it's like, okay, that's exactly how it's gonna go off. Like, there's another way to put it. So get conversation going, make vibes, come out throughout, like, the waiting process. That way, it creates a great, area for everybody. And then, when you go into the actual interview, you already have like a nice, you already started talking, you have your inner words going, everything's already started up. So that way, when you go into the interview, you still got those vibes, and it's a lot easier to give off and start getting things rolling with the actual interview. And number four, what I have is something that a lot of people like to do, and it's like, I don't blame them. It's human nature, but it's just like, don't ramble on at your interview. Like, you got to keep your answers, short and sweet. Keep it going. Give them the information they want to hear, and keep it going. Don't start talking about your dogs. Don't ramble on about your life. They don't want to waste their time. You don't want to waste your time. And they at the end of the day, they just want to get the information out of you to see if you're a good hire or not. So don't ramble on, or at least try not to. Keep it short and simple. Forgot what number we were on, but I think it was number 6. So for number 6 is, again, kind of goes back to like the charming, sophisticated kind of thing, is your body language. So don't go into the room, all slouchish, shoulders down, and then sit on the chair, all slouches and shit, not smiling or anything like that. You gotta give off the enthusiasm that you want the job. As maybe you don't want the job, you just have to get this job. It doesn't matter. You have to show that there's just things you have to do. And going into a place enthusiastic and energetic, an interview is one of those things. So you have to go in there, with the energy pumping, you gotta be ready to go. So you gotta be out there, hands folded, sitting with your arm, however it may be, chest out, everything. You gotta be ready to present yourself. As much as you're presenting what you're valuable, like what you can bring to their team, you also have to present yourself as a person. So they can, remember you and see you were energetic. You will bring vibes every time you work. You're not just someone who they see all sluggish and they're gonna be like that every time they come into work. They're not gonna want that. Number 7, and this doesn't apply to every single job, probably just more like higher tier jobs. Bring kind of like a little portfolio, like a little folder or something like that just has like, your resume, stuff like that. Sometimes they have it like, you can do it over the computer, just send it through, but it's sometimes better just to have like actual hard copies, because yeah, they may have it in their systems, but they also have how many other people's in their systems. So that way you have a copy of your resume, it's you as the person, they know who you are specifically to the resume, and you can show them things a lot more precisely, as the list, down by the list, things they want to hear more things specifically about. And it's a lot better than if you have like awards, certifications, representation, stuff like that. It's also good, you just have them there. Also, just let them know, oh, you're qualified for this, qualified for that. So it's just a nice little handy thing. Of course, you don't have to. Maybe other higher tiers of job require it, but it's just a nice little thing that, can be a nice little added value. Number 8, and this is one that I just think is probably one of the most important ones, and I don't understand why a lot of people don't do it. And it's asking questions. That if you have gone to an interview before or are going to one, whenever the interview gets to the point where it's like, okay, do you have any questions for us? You will be like, no, not at the moment, or something within that general term. That doesn't end in you asking a question back. Don't do that. Ask any questions, as simple as the question can be. How flexible are you guys with the scheduling? But anything that you can just to keep a conversation going, and mainly just to show more interest coming from you into the job, because they want to see that you've been researching them. They want to see what you want to know. They want to see where you're at, especially if you're like applying for a sales job. You're going to want to ask questions. Go into the ask, who was the top performer last month? What's the kind of sales quota you guys like to have for the month? Ask about the lower ones. Who has been the lowest performing ones? So you can see where they're at, where you have to be at, and what you could do to see if this is gonna be a nice challenge for you. It's gonna be relatively easy for you, whatever the case may be. You asking questions about them is pretty much for you to find out, to see if this is a place for you, to see if you want to work here, to see if this is a place that you're gonna be fine with for a while. You know what I mean? It's not just to put on pressure on you, like, oh shit, do I have any questions? No, it's literally for you to find out things, for you to find out shit about them. It's your one time to ask questions. Later on, it's going to be train, or if you even get the place or not. For number 9, it's after the interview, or whatever the case may be. Me personally, I hate being like, what's next? Like, what's going to happen? No. I like knowing, when you're going to call me, how was the follow-up, I like dates and times. So, and I've come to notice that when you ask that question, when would I be finding out? Or, when you're going to give me a call, around which time, or blah, blah. I tend to notice that they like that, because they see that you're getting organized with them already. You're really into the job. Actually, you want to see, you want to find out. I personally always like to ask, what's pretty much a deadline time where you guys will give me a call to let me know if I have the job or not. Mainly because that gives me peace of mind, so I know when they're going to call me, so I'm not even going day after day, are they going to call me, or they're going to call me. So that way, you already know when they're going to call you, and even then, it gives you a good reason to call them back if they don't give you a call. Because you're like, oh, hey, you guys gave me a deadline, I didn't get a call back. What's the status of my interview, or what's, what are the next steps, how, whatever the situation may be. So it's, peace of mind for you, and that way you can, find out what's happening, so that way you can move on next if you have like other jobs you're applying to, whatever the case may be. And for number 10, I have, it's pretty much, don't be cocky, and don't also be like too low key about yourself. It's like, go in there casual about it. Don't go in there and be like, yeah, I was a top performer here, I was always doing the best over here, I was like, don't be an asshole. At the same time, don't be like, oh, I'm not the best at this, or I was terrible at this. No, don't do that. Don't do that. As much as people want to tell you, tell them you're negative. I've heard that before. People like, don't do that. If you're not the best at something, yeah, it's better to know about that. There's like a section at their job that doesn't, we have a section over here that focuses on this area. It's like, oh, maybe the laptops. Let's say you're a camera person, but you're not good at laptops. It's like, oh, we have laptops. Like, oh, I'm not really good with laptops, blah, blah, but I'm great with cameras. Still, like, stuff like that, so you have things to contradict, you know what I mean? So don't sell yourself out, and also don't be too cocky. Be casual. At the end of the day, be casual, be energetic, show them that you want the job, and show them that you're a perfect fit for the job. And lastly, another thing that I want to just throw in there is pretty much just practice. As much as weird as it may sound, you can practice interviews, and it's something that I like to do. I've come to like to do, and the reason why I get so good at them is I continuously like to go. I continually like to go on interviews, and it first of all does me great because I can connect with people. I can find people who are in businesses or stuff like that. That I can probably get good connections with. And it pretty much just provides great practice because, it keeps me involved in conversation, keeps me learning different questions, different things people like to ask and stuff like that, how to answer different things. And it works out like that. And it's great exploring with, like, job fields, like applying to jobs that you think you have no chance at, and applying to jobs that, you think are very easy, you probably won't get, whatever it may be. So, there's like a car dealership you want to apply to, and you're like 18. Go apply to it. Go apply to be a salesman. Fuck being a porter. Go apply being a salesman. That's what I did. So it's like, you'll be surprised at what you can pull off, because at the end of the day, it doesn't matter who you are, how you appear to. If you provide the things that they want and you can sell it, depending on what your job is, you can do it. So if you want, it's a little extra tip in there. If you want, you can go practice interviews. Let's say you have 3 interviews lined up. You got the first one. That was the one you wanted. All right, cool. Go to the other 2. Just see how they go. And just get some more practice in there, and you don't have to be there. But, oh, I'm sorry, I don't think this is the job for me. It's not that hard. Conversation, communicate, talk. Anyways, yeah, that's all for this episode, guys. If you liked it, please leave a like, comment, subscribe, all that wonderful good stuff. And if you guys have any other questions or topics you guys want me to talk about, please drop them down below. And like always, I hope you guys have a wonderful day and stay magical.